All right, I think it's working. Do I sound okay? I think I do sound okay. All right, so I've never gone live on my channel before, but I figured it's time to start doing some unfiltered content on some of the weekly mashup of the news. So let's get right into it. You know, you can drop the chat. We could talk. We could bench race. We could do it live, you know, talk some smack. Maybe get ready for this weekend's, you know, race there in Southwick. Allow gifts. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Can do that. This is all new to me, too. So the first thing I want to talk about is Fox Raceway being sold for $540 million with a potential $500 million payable to, depending upon the brand's near-term financial performance. So Fox Raceway is being sold to Vista Outdoor. They own Bell, Gyro, Blackburn, Quick Hat, Camel. I believe they own Camel as well. And this is interesting because this isn't that much, you know, for people thinking like, okay, yeah, $540 million, that's a lot. But if you think of a company, this is almost a microcap company. It's under the definition of small cap between 300 million and 2 billion. There's a lot of cryptos out there that have a larger market cap than Fox Racing does. And so a lot of people that talk about getting major big contracts with Fox, they probably don't get paid a crap ton by Fox. You know, it's probably under $1 million for some of the top guys. And that's just unfortunate. It's just kind of where the sport is, you know. But for these guys to be selling for $600 million and their revenue has only been $300 million, that's interesting. But they're leaving the CEO. You know, Jeffrey's staying the CEO for a while here. I like Fox, and I've also heard from like some dealers before that it's hard to keep Fox gear in stock because their minimum order for just their showroom stuff is like $5,000. So you can't even carry Fox gear unless you're willing to spend $5,000. So if you have a small shop, you're not going to go try to carry Fox gear, right? And good luck trying to get sponsored by Fox. You're going to get 0% off, or you're going to get like something like 10. Last week, you know, MXGP, Tim Geiser won both motos. He's the points leader over there. Their next race is going to be on July 17th. You know, I'm a big Prado fan. I just think the little shit has got a lot of spunk to him, and he doesn't really take no brass. So I would like to see him ride as well. And if we just move over, Michael Lindsay, this dude is incredibly knowledgeable, whether it's about bike maintenance, you know, anything with testing wise, and he's doing a good job over there at Vital. And he talks, you could watch this right here on Vital MX. He's talking about, you know, Rider D not having a ride for Kawasaki, which again, this is why I would really like to see the whole 250 class be kind of like the up-and-coming privateer class, where it was stock, like an F2 class, because there's not enough spots for the factory riders. If you think about it, there's only 36 factory riders. That's enough for everybody to be on a 450, right, and have the full Supreme Motocross Supercross class be all factory guys, and then everyone else can kind of compete, and guys won't be left out without a ride. Like, look at how well Ty Masterpool did this last weekend, you know, and he has his brother as his mechanic, and yeah, he's getting some help from, I believe, AEO, but, you know, it's like, come on, there's a lot of talented guys out there that, hey, Michael, you know, just telling me, what's up, Michael? So yeah, leave a comment, guys. We can, Brob, you know, I like the chat here, you know, gotta love the chat room here, but let me know what you think about having Rider D not have a ride, because all the spaces are full. And this week, we had the whole combine racing over there at RedBud, where they had a total of 24 top A and B class riders in the country, handpicked by manufacturers, Honda, Gas, KTM. It's basically like a small amateur national there at RedBud. RedBud is going to be, I believe, the MX the Nations this year, which is pretty dang cool. Hopefully we don't get our ass kicked again. And the American riders, they really don't have, they have to race it, right? Everyone doesn't want to race it because they don't want to get hurt and they don't want to not have their rides for Supercross because they make no money at the Motocross the Nations. It's a fun race to do with your country, and we haven't won it in 10 years, so why risk it? But if it's at your hometown deal, you're going to probably have to try to at least risk it. But anyway, I'm going off subject here. At this combine race, it's kind of cool because it's an educational type deal that they're putting on here, where it's a classroom session and then a pair of 25 minutes plus 2 lap motos, which is cool. But these, basically, it's another small factory class because you're having all the manufacturers bring up their riders to kind of see what they're doing. But it is cool that they assigned 4 different groups, and they each had like a pro help them out, whether it was, Brock Glover, which, dude, he's got like, I've learned so much from this guy, Brock, with some of his early films and everything. The dude is just an amazing coach. And then you have, new coach Chad Reed coming up with his whole Reedy. He's got an amazing YouTube channel up there too. Yeah, dude, Deegan absolutely spanked it. I guess, we'll jump right ahead here. Deegan won by 32 seconds. 32 seconds. His best lap was a 2:05, and everyone else was doing 2:08s or 2:09s. Do you think Deegan racing the Loretta Lynn at RedBud helped him dominate the field? I think it's that Star Race at Yamaha that helped him dominate the field. Those Star bikes were one of the only ones that were jumping the Larocco's Leap. And in Supercross and everything, those bikes are just above average, But I think definitely the more time you can spend on the track, the better you're going to do. Mosman, or bring Craig down. Oh, wow, it's live. Yeah, just try to get in the chat here. But this whole combine deal, I think, is a good idea. But it's only for the top A and B riders in the country that get to go. So it's basically like an amateur day, but without having all the other small classes. So for a track, as far as revenue goes, they're not really, they make more money off of the spectators. And if they were going to do like the whole amateur day again, where you have, 8750 classes and I don't know, a bunch of, vet classes and blah, blah, blah. That's really where the money is being made, not here. This is a cool thing. And Deegan in the next Moto too. Wow. I mean, look at the difference in lap times though between Moto 1, his best lap was a 2:05, and Moto 2 was a 2:17. That's nuts. That's like, what is that, 12 seconds? That's 12 seconds different. So that track must have been beat the hell up after those 12 minutes. Craig on a 250. Dude, I think Craig, for Supercross, I think he's kind of pointed out. He's gotta. Yeah, sorry, I said Fox Raceway. It is Fox, the brand. Fox being sold. If you're new here, I was talking about the whole Fox brand being sold for $600 million, which isn't really that much. Yeah, B class is always the fastest. Cosmic Energy, B class is always the fastest at Loretta's. You look at it. It all kind of started when I went to Loretta's back in 2009. I think that's when Dungy won the B class, and Dungy had faster lap times than everybody. I wasn't sure if it was Anderson that won the class when I was down there, or if it was Wilson. One of the two. I don't remember. I finished 30th, so it's not that big of a deal. Hopper, such a squid. Yeah, you know what? I hold a WFO in the squid. You made it in '09 in B class. Hey, you're probably faster than me, dude. Hanging out the B class. I remember I had race tech suspension, and we tried putting in the gold valves ourselves, and there was like no damping whatsoever. So when I was going through the 10-pack and I was tripling in, as soon as I would triple in, it would completely compress, and then I'd endo coming out, and I actually ended up endoing out on one of the motos. It was a bummer. I didn't know what was wrong with the suspension till after the fact. Trying to get to some of these comments here. No, but essentially the small live here was just going over the weekly mashup. I thought I was gonna just edit one, but I figured F it. We'll make a little live show out of here. Deegan straight up owned the combine race. Ryder D with Kawasaki probably isn't going to have a ride. I mean, Pro Circuit Kawasaki, they're kind of coming back with Shimoda there. And MXGP, looking forward to the new race. And really the big news is Vista Outdoors buying, Fox Racing for $600 million. And it just shows you that, hey, these guys aren't making as much money as everybody thinks. At what point should they go back to Peacock? Oh, dude, what I'm doing right here, they have the facility in order for Mav TV and Flow Racing to put it on live. You could literally have the live stream and cut into commercials of your own. You don't have to monetize it from YouTube whatsoever. You could just go directly to companies and say, hey, you want to have an ad revenue on one of these live streams, boom, and you do it that way. That's what I would like to see him do, because everyone uses the internet right now. Nobody really uses cable, and the streaming platforms are difficult to work with. Definitely, I think where it's at is it's these platforms where they can be streamed worldwide. Oh, big rain before Moto 2. Okay, that makes sense. I wasn't there. I need to get my ass down there to more, but that makes sense as to why they were such a big difference in lap times, is because it was raining. Yeah. Motor. This message held for a review. Oh, we're just gonna show it right here. Unfortunately, I stopped. Okay, that's probably why. Dude, if they showed up at a GNCC, I think Dungey would do the best, because GNCCs, at least when I was around racing, they were 3 hours, so you can't just go WF wide F and open right away. So if you're needing to race a GNCC, you got to kind of slow and steady stop, get some refuel, have your Camelback where you can drink some water and everything. I think Dungey would do really well on a GNCC. I think he'd give people a run for their money. I know Webb has tried it, and then Osborne has also tried it as well. But I really liked all the outdoor racing, because as far as the kind of laid back longer 2-hour long racing, because you're not just like instantly just blowing your wad right away in the first 10-15 minutes and you're just fading. Like if you look at, I guess I can look at it's impossible to try to find the penalties on this website. Supercross has the penalties where you can find it, but motocross, they don't show it. Here, if I go to provisioning results to see where these guys, plus 150, plus 1, plus 17 seconds. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, just trying to find how far up that these guys lapped. Where is the laps done? Maybe I'm in the wrong one. Fastest lap time. Lap chart. That's what we want to do. 17 laps. Maybe I can't find it. But no, essentially what I'm trying to look at here is how many guys ended up getting lapped. And it was over half the field always ends up getting lapped. And it's because of the guys out front. I think it's got a lot to do with A, their training, and B, I think it's their bike setup. The suspension, the track is literally smoother for the factory guys than it is for most of the privateer guys, just because of how well their suspension runs. And if we want to talk about PEDs, there's probably some guys that are doing PEDs that help. I mean, how could it not help when you have a long series and everybody during a race either twists their ankle or twists their knee or falls down and has something? It would be nice to be able to heal faster, right? T-Bone, I hope World Supercross uses streaming services like Twitch or YouTube. They should. They absolutely should. They're leaving so much viewers on the table, because that's why you see a lot of people stream on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, sometimes even Instagram all at once, because there's certain people that just like certain platforms, and that's the way they should do it. I know that they've got deals with MAV TV or NBC where they sign a contract so that they can't differentiate from something, but they can maybe say, hey, we'll do one race on, actual cable TV, but we'll do all of them on YouTube. Yeah, I thought like the first race here, I thought the first race was much better on YouTube than it was on MAV TV. Absolutely. And there was none of those silly commercials. It was just 100% racing. They could put a couple things in there. It's a real bummer to pay $6.99 for something and then have to then sit there and watch commercials for it and miss part of the race, where they literally don't pause the race. It just, hey, race is continuing to go. Here's this. There's so many things that are available to these guys that they could implement to make it better. Eat commies. A factory suspension, night and day difference from stock or aftermarket, close performance gap. A factory suspension, night and day from stock or aftermarket. Factory suspension is incredibly night and day difference than even the aftermarket stuff, even a kit stuff. If you have 10 grand, like that is a night and day difference from stock. That's why, again, I think that if we have a stock class, we'll have better racing, and just say, hey, nobody can revalve their stuff. Spec tires is Dunlop. Next weekend might be Michelin, whatever. You can deal it and get more revenue in that way, so that everyone's running the same stuff. But it would be cool to see like Yamaha come up and say, hey, everybody that has a stock 250 Yamaha can race the 250 Pro Motocross, because this year it is sponsored by Yamaha, so you have to have a Yamaha to race. I don't know how well that would hurt the series as a whole, because you got to have Honda and everybody as far as different manufacturers go. But I'm kind of going out on a tangent here, because I was talking a little bit about the weekly news, but then I'm just going, yeah, Cosmic Energy Cook. He's saying that Cooksey knew that MAV TV knew this before they switched mid-season. I'm sure they did. Guys. The world is not fair. It is not fair. And so they were doing the best. That's why the stream probably sucked, is because they're like, why are we going to invest in having the equipment when it's being taken over by Flow anyway? But I do think that it's going to get better with Flow. I think it's kind of a bummer that everybody that paid for like a year subscription, I don't know if they're going to get refunded from that whole deal. It's a bummer. The World Supercross is going to change so much. It's going to change everything, which I am so pumped to watch it. And I'm honestly, again, I talk about why the whole motocross, it's too long. 4 hours, plus qualifying and everything. Like, the diehard fan would go to the race and hang out there all day. The diehard fan will load up, take a six-pack, watch everything all day. The problem is how do you get everybody that wants to just watch reality TV or something for an hour or two? That's really where they're missing the drama, and they're missing it being a smaller show. That's why I've heard that Pulp MX, Steve-O over there was talking about, had the same idea as me as 15-minute motos. Do 3 15-minute motos, right? Okay, you have your 45 minutes on the track as opposed to 60 minutes on the track minus the +2 laps, right? Oh, 30 pack. Yeah, you could totally do a 30 pack, but I think the 3 motos, yeah, you've got the dangerous when it comes to 3 starts, but that's more exciting for the viewers. And 15 minutes is going to make better racing, where you're not going to have just one dude that's able to just come through, whether it's a Shimoto or a Hunter or a Tomac. You're going to have multiple guys being able to kind of come through the pack and ride hard, right? We want to see action. Okay, we're watching motocross and not GNCC because we want to see these guys push the limits, right? 15 minutes will allow you to do that. 30 minutes plus 2, everyone's tongue is hanging out after the 15-minute mark, right? Maybe not everybody's, because you watch those guys get off the track and then they're not huffing and puffing. It's it's interesting, right? The only reason why I know that is because I know of some of the certain stuff. This isn't, the Tour de France, but the sport runs kind of like Tour de France, because it's just go, 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 go. How do you recover? These guys don't need to be riding during the week. They need to just be recovering. And a privateer, dude, he can't recover. He just gets in his box van, goes, grabs McDonald's, and then drives another 15 hours to the next race, Therefore, you train. I know, but there's such a thing as overtraining. You can overtraining. It's like a battery. Coach Rob always talked to me about this. It's like your cell phone, right? So you have your cell phone and you're 100% because you got proper 8 hours of sleep, blah, blah, blah. And then you go ride 3 motos and that sucker goes down to 20%. And then you got to sleep again. And maybe you don't get the best sleep. And so as opposed to being recharged at 100%, now you're recharged at 80%. And then now you go train and do blah, 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 blah. And then the next day, you recharge only to 75%. Like, you can't get back up there to 100%. Again, that's why there are certain thingies out there with needles that enable you to continue to brace that gap. But it's impossible. It's not genetically possible to be 100% all the time. And our sport requires you to be 100% all the time, whether it's through 17 races of Supercross or 12 races through motocross. And I think a lot of the riders are finding that as they need to. That's why they're going Supercross only. A, because it's money, and B, because they feel that they can only sustain and be able to compete well in one division or the other. You either smoke yourself through Supercross and then have a nice time to relax and recoup, then you're ready for Supercross again, and you've got an edge on the entire competition, because we don't live in an era anymore where there's guys like McGrath or guys like Carmichael or Stewart that can literally just kind of show up and own, right? You're having all these guys. That's why they train together, is because they're pushing each other. If you train by yourself, you have nobody to compare to. That's that whole innovation thing, is you need to ride with riders that are just as good as you. It's Shamrock. Shamrock once said that, in order to be successful, he's a UFC Hall of Famer. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a really good guy at mixed martial arts. But he said to be successful, you need to have 3 things. One of those things is you need to have somebody to mentor, somebody, somebody mentor you, somebody to look up to, somebody that's better than you. Number 2, you have to have somebody that's right around the same as you, same level of competition, because then you can push each other to elevate. And then the third thing is you need to have somebody to teach, so that you can remember all the things that you're doing and you can actually teach it to somebody else. Teaching somebody is the best way to retain information. And that's what these guys like Alden Baker and these big training facilities is they know, is they get these guys together and they're going to elevate them. You're going to push yourself if you feel like, hey, this dude shouldn't be beating you on the weekends on the training track. You're going to try harder. It's human nature, and especially in a sport where we're all just egotistical, where that's just motorcycle racing in general. You're only one person. There really is no team. So World Supercross. Yeah, World Supercross is going to be huge. Legend. Sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments here. Yeah, because this has turned into just kind of me talking to you guys. I will make it a little bit longer. I know people wanted to have a little bit longer of a stream here, so I figured, what the heck, we'll just go live for just a while and we'll talk. Flow Racing charged me a full year on my credit card statement when I paid for a month subscription. Oh, that's a bummer. I would definitely try to hit support and try to see if you can get that money back. And if you can't get that money back for the full year, then, maybe contact your credit card company and just say, hey, this was unauthorized. I didn't actually. Don't ever call your credit card company and tell them that you authorized the transaction, because they will tell you, nope, you're SOL. You said you authorized it. That's why it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission, pretty much through all of life. It's just like, even though if you know better, you just act stupid, right? It's kind of the basis of a bunch of my videos, is to act stupid. Not enough digression, right? But no, truthfully, a 40-plus class needed at the Nationals. No, honestly, I don't think J-Law's going to race, right? That I would love to see Jason Lawrence, dude. The original bad boy, dude. Him getting in Dungy's head, because what was it? Was it One Industries that Dungy was sponsored by? Because, and then Jason got sponsored by it, and then Dungy was like, no, we can't have this. And Jason was definitely in Dungy's, was that 2008, 2007 Supercross? I don't remember, but he was way at his head. It was that was the drama that we needed. Granted, that guy needed a little bit better direction, so that he would have stayed out of trouble and been able to. Who knows what that guy's career would have been like, because him starting his own team, I believe at like Daytona, he came by and almost beat Chad Reed and won one of the races on the 450. Almost a huge upset, even though it's a huge upset that he got on the podium. And his podium speeches, I think he was the first guy I ever heard cuss on TV, which I thought was just freaking cool. Just he was very, very entertaining. I know he hung out with Josh Hill a lot, and that's when the sport kind of was changing, right? Because Josh Hill was wanting to go do other stuff with freestyle, with like learning his backflip, and he ended up getting really hurt. And Pastrana couldn't be focused on one thing, because racing and training is boring when you could go be doing so much other stuff. And some of these guys made a living, like Emick and McGrath, where they could just go race and then go party hard and still be the man. It's evolution, right? Everybody is now at a Georgia training facility or a Reynolds training facility or a Alden deal, where that's how you need to be successful, is you need to just put your head down, spend a shit ton of money, and just work. And then after you work, hopefully you don't get hurt and you have a little bit of luck because somebody picks you up. Truthfully, I believe there's a lot of guys on the sidelines that can get inside the top 5, top podiums. I even think that there's riders that could win that just aren't racing because they know that there's no money in racing. So if they're not being paid racing, they're not going to risk it. And that's a bummer. My view changed a lot once I got hurt, because I just lived and breathed this stuff, and it was whatever. Yeah, be Maisie. That's kind of the same thing. But no, I do not think J-Law is going to race. I think it's been too flaky for him. Somebody would have leaked something of him practicing, and we would have seen something, dude, because that guy, if he wanted to set something up, he's got a platform just with his name to where he could call Gypsy up and have a full interview. Man, could you imagine that interview? God, that'd be effing cool. But start that up and just snowball it. Say boom, boom, boom. There's some guys that just have a load shit ton of money, and fuck, maybe even call Grundle. Be like, hey, can I have a bike? Can I have one of those old Geico bikes? And just give it to him to let him just go race. I would love to see it. The narrative there is great. And what do I think of Weege saying, listen to the crowd? I believe they might have been rooting for Shimoda, and then it just went to F Joe Biden. And, so I think it was just circumstances with Weege. I like Weege. I think he works really hard, and the dude in the moto industry, it's so cutthroat. All these guys are kind of against each other. And truthfully, that's how you grow the sport, is you just get more people involved. Like, I'm incredibly pumped that my buddy Cooksey is starting to do more. He has a different outlook than everybody, which is nice, which is what the space needs, right? In order to get anywhere, is you don't want to be in a room with people that all think the same, because yeah, you guys are just going to have this dick measuring contest of, hey, cool, we're just badass. You want to be in a room that people disagree with you, because that's how you'll evolve, right? You know, if you find somebody that's incredibly intellectual, the thing that you need to ask them is like, what books are you reading, so that I can try to learn something from you? There's that saying that experience is best when it's not your own, because sometimes experience is hard to come by. You know, you don't want, like, for instance, let's say him doing a backflip and then eating shit and messing up his leg. He's got experience on how not to do a backflip. He can teach you so that you don't do that again, right? You don't want to have his experience to then try to learn it on your own. No. And that's why you've got these big trainers out here, is because they've got experience of doing it wrong and finding it right. And now everybody is doing it right. It's interesting that RC, you know, he's the guy that kind of jump-started bringing Alden over here from Europe, who Alden was helping the cyclists out, you know, so he knew how to train, comes over here, and then you've got somebody that's been dominant. And RC's straight up said that he wasn't the most talented rider, you know, he just worked the hardest, right? And he had somebody to, like, how much would people love to have a outline of what to do throughout your amateur career and then your professional career? Some people are fortunate enough to have it. And truthfully, I get a little bit maybe bitter about some of the factory guys just thinking that they're completely always the shit. And it's like, dude, you're incredibly lucky. And you listen to Chad Reed talk about, like, man, I should have enjoyed it more. I should have enjoyed those times because they were so fleeting, you know? And that's somebody that has perspective, not where you're just, because it can be gone in an instant, like what I talked about with Brian Moreau. Sorry, I just... Bob Hanna was the best in the old days. Dude, the old racing, I wasn't really around during the old racing, but man, it seemed like that was the highlight of racing, was like the 70s to the 90s, you know? So I'm hoping we've been through a large bear market with racing right now, and that we're now just going to... something's going to explode. And I think the catalyst is the World Supercross, is because there's that saying, like, you know, why change something if it's not broke? That's how Supercross and motocross have been the last 20 years. Is they're like, it's not broke. Why do we need to change it? Yeah, you guys need to change it. You need to make it more exciting, because I'm a big believer that racing is turning into entertainment, right? It's no longer just racing. If you want to have everybody kind of be involved and have big, large sponsors. Like, I was watching the UFC fight this weekend, and hell, they had Elden Ring on the map. They had Manscaped. They had, you know, these crypto companies, VeChain, like big billion-dollar companies were investing in this stuff. You don't see that in motocross. Why? Because they don't have the viewership. So I effing get on YouTube, right? Start streaming the stuff, build a base. Maybe it won't hurt. Not this instant gratification, right? You know, flip the switch. If it's not working, which it's not working because things are going down, prices are going up, we're losing people. So what do you need to do? You need to switch it, right? We need to change the way, like change everything. Just mix it up. I guess my analogy for that is you have a confident rider and he's following a few guys. He's going to take different lines, lose some time, because he knows he's going to get back up and be able to be right there with somebody. And eventually he's going to get around and potentially win the race. You have somebody that's not as confident. He's just going to be riding the same blue groove and just going along with the pace. We've all done it before, and that's stop child labor. Yeah, they did take the sponsorships away from the fighters. That is true. But they also made the purse quite a bit more, right? The purse is incredibly larger than what it used to be. The purse, we're talking millions of dollars for main events, and just for being in a pay-per-view at UFC, you're talking some of these guys are getting 50, 60 grand, where that was the main event purse before. And again, just like what I was showing here, because with Fox being sold, this is a small company, right? Only making $300 million a year, being sold for $600 million. Do you really think that their sponsorships for 100 riders are going to be each $1 million or something? No, because then that's they're not even going to really, they're not going to break even if they're giving it all away. Their sponsorship stuff's got to be fairly. I'd be surprised if their contracts for riders were more than $50K. More than $50K. Maybe a top rider, it might be six figures, but I highly doubt it, because they're giving out a shit ton of free stuff, and we live in a small market share of just racing motorcycles in general. Oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know I could do that. Drink Miller. Yeah, the riders do make more at a pro-am. Like, that's another topic that is just a bummer, is that riders can make more money at a local race than they can a national, because a national, the fees are expensive to be part of, and you are literally bringing your A game, because you're never going to be able to compete with the elite guys. At least at an amateur deal, you might skip on new tires, you might not bring the race gas, and you'll still finish well, right? And if you win 250 Pro, Open Pro, 450 Pro, you're looking at $1,200-$1,500, and it cost you $200 to sign up and race. That's a win right there. But at a national, you spend $800 to just kind of sign up and be at the national, not to mention the price of gas at $6 a gallon to get there. And then if you don't get inside the top, I think I have an old version of it here. If you don't get inside the top 20, you're making $250 a moto, right? So you're not even breaking even. I think I have an old, trying to find it here. Pictures. Dun, dun, dun. That's Supercross. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, that's Last Chance Qualifier. Yeah, that's Supercross is what I'm looking. Yeah. Sorry, I'll just trying to move this down here. So no, that's Supercross payout. The Moto payout. Damn, I don't have the Moto payout, but that's the Supercross payout, and it's just awful for 450s, and then 250s. That's awful too for first. But you really think that I think it's something like, gosh dang it, I think like $6,000 or something to win a 450 national, which is awesome if you win the national, but you're not going to, as a privateer, you're going to get the $500. But I quit selling Fox gear when they went to the shopping malls. And guys, there's a lot of like hate going around when it comes to Davey Coombs, just in general. And truthfully, he's the guy that you point to kind of post blame, because he's the guy that's in control of potentially having this stuff. But there's so much other things that are involved in order to get something to happen. It's not just a dictatorship where he says goes. There's a lot of other things that have to happen. But I know we can sit here and we can bitch a lot about what's wrong with the sport. And I'm trying not to do as much of that. I want to give ideas on what could potentially make it better, because it's staying stagnant. It's going, but you don't want to stay stagnant. You want to constantly keep innovating and going up, right? Yeah. Vista Outdoors is just a parent company. Is a parent company that owns a bunch of different, they own Camel, they own Bell, Gyro, Blackburn, Q Hat. It's the same thing like Facebook. They changed their parent company to Meta, and they own a bunch of other things. Pretty often, a lot of companies are owned by, like, a lot of fast food restaurants own different chains. Like, they own Taco Bell, then they own Del Taco, then they own KFC. They're not each individually. That's kind of how this is going on with this. But says long days. What's right or wrong? Chinese restaurant, dude. Some of your guys' comments are cracking me up. Troy Lee. Nah, I mean, Facebook, okay, sorry, small crypto thing. So what is happening with the internet is during Netscape Navigator in the 90s, that was Internet 1.0, where it was read. Right now we live in the world of Internet 2.0, where it's read and write. All of our data is owned by Google, Facebook, Instagram, that sort of thing. Internet 3.0 is going to be read, write, and own. You're going to have your own platform that you can host and run and do that thing, which would be nice for somebody like motocross to try to get involved on that stuff, but it's just in its infancy. It's not going to happen very soon. No, the biggest news here was we've got a small cap company of Fox being sold. And the question is why are they being sold? Are they just not wanting to do it anymore? But this could be good for Fox, because if they limit the maximum order to places of, I believe it was like 5K to have a minimum order at a bike shop, more people will be able to afford the Fox gear, because right now with the economy and everything, we're looking for slashing prices. We need to slash prices on stuff because realistically, everything is just getting more and more expensive. Watch going to your local track, as opposed to $40 to go ride for a day, they're going to up it to $50 because of the price of gas and water, right? Yeah, these guys. Anyway, guys, I'm going to cop out here. If we have any more questions, I'll try to do this like maybe at least once a week or something, where I'll do like a weekly mashup of what I think of what's going on in the moto industry. And, we'll just kind of bench race right here, right? I do think what Chad Reed is doing with his boys, with his YouTube channel, I think he's trying to follow in Deacon's footsteps, and I think that's great. You need to have a social media presence if you're wanting to get good sponsorships. That's just plain and simple. If you're trying to, okay, all right, last little tangent before I leave here. If you're an amateur, right, and truthfully you're trying to go pro, what you should be doing is you should be saving your money, not racing all the local races, and you should be going to the amateur races where all the sponsors are. And you should have a TikTok account. You should have an Instagram account. You should be posting as much as you can, because followers and views are money to these places. They don't give a shit that you're fast on a dirt bike. They care that you have a following. That's why Deegan, it's a catalyst. He's got the followers and he's fast. But part of the reason why he's fast is because he's got the followers, and which brings in sponsorships and opportunities for him to get faster, to get ahead of everybody. It's the compound effect. They're building off of each other. Dude, Chad rocks. Chad totally rocks. Buy some merch. Anyway, I could keep on a tangent forever. Thanks for watching, you guys. Again, I will try to do this maybe every Thursday. We'll do like a little weekly mashup of what's going on in the sport. In the comments below, let me know who you think is going to win Southwick. Dude, it's Tomac, probably. Tomac for sure, the blue background, Tomac. And then 250s, I'd say Hunter. Tomac Hunter. That's what I'm choosing. Anyway. I need to find what the stop button is on this live thing. Sexton. Yeah, I can see Sexton winning. You know, dude, how bad would it be if Kenny wins? If Kenny wins, oh my effing God. We know he's fast enough to win, but he just needs a 15-minute moto.